Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Paperweight Entertainment Podcast, your home for all things Marvel, DC, Star Wars, and so much more. Join Derek and Ian as they tell tales to astonish along this journey into mystery. Grab some snacks and settle in because Paperweight Entertainment starts now. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Paperweight Entertainment Podcast. I'm your co-host, Derek Hoskins, and with me tonight for the first time in 2024, he's back. He's better than ever. He's beautiful. He's wearing the wrong hat, but he is the glue. Mr. Ian Torrance is back on the Paperweight Entertainment Podcast. Ian, my bestest friend in the whole wide world, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for asking me.
Please give one-word answers. Just be gone for like 2 months and come back and just do one-word answers.
Like for the whole episode, or just like as
for the
year?
Intro? For the year.
For the year?
All year. Just one word.
But I mean, like, just for the whole episode, just each episode is just one word, or like one word per like response that you asked me.
One word per response. One word per response.
Okay.
So anyway, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for listening. If you're listening on the podcast, if you're watching on YouTube, I'll be surprised because our YouTube channel got taken down this last week. I've been dealing with that. So if you are watching this on YouTube, you're watching on our new YouTube channel. Make sure you share it with your friends. If the old one is restored, then we'll switch back over to that, but I'm not getting my hopes up. So we're going to start new on this channel here that you are watching this on, unless it gets restored and then I put it on there. Weird, timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly. It's going to be an interesting evening. I can already tell. I haven't had Ian on a podcast in a while. But anyway, like I said, if you are watching on YouTube, please, for the love of God, more than ever before, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, and share this video with all your friends. But tonight, we don't have a show to talk about. The writer strike, the actor strike took its toll on 2024 already, and we don't have anything to discuss. So this was a really long-winded intro and a way of me saying so long. See you in 2025 when we have shows again, right, Ian?
Yes.
You'll catch on.
Correct.
All right. So all joking aside, we are going to do another top 5 list this week. So we're going to be having a lot of different types of content throughout the year since there's not going to be as much television to cover. There's always movies to cover. So Colonel Bob and Ian can do whatever they want on Silver Screen Scoundrels. I'm not affiliated with them anymore. But for us, we're going to do a top 5 list. Ian, what are we ranking tonight?
We are going to rank our, SNES. We're going to rank
you can do it for real.
5 Super Nintendo video games that we enjoyed throughout our times as a child. Actually, not even as a child, even as an adult. If you still enjoy them now, more power to you. I do. I don't know about you, but I do.
Yeah, I'll play. I have the NES Classic, the SNES Classic, same. All of them, the 64, all of them on the Switch. And I will play the NES and the SNES Classics more than I'll play modern games on the Switch.
Understandable.
Because there are so many great ones. I was so excited. And here's the thing. You suggested us doing the SNES, and I didn't own an SNES. When Super Nintendo came out, my family switched to Sega. And so a lot of these games I had to play at other people's houses until I was much older. Like in high school, we bought an old conversion van, like the full-size van, not the little minivan. And it had like a TV, a VCR, and it had a Super Nintendo in it. And so I was just like, all right. So we bought that van and decided we weren't going to keep it and sold it within like a couple of months. And so I took the Super Nintendo out of it and kept it. And then we sold the van without the Super Nintendo. But either way, it's still, some of those games are some of my most fun memories of playing video games with friends, since it was not one that I had.
That's fair. I came in late on the game. I had a regular Nintendo growing up, and I had a Sega Genesis. And then later, I ended up getting Um, a Super Nintendo. Corey's calling me now.
Of course he is. Don't answer. Leave him on.
I can't.
Ignore him. Ignore him.
Oh, if he see if he hangs up real quick. That's the picture I have when Corey calls me.
Oh my gosh, that's great. I'm not editing that out. That's amazing.
You like that?
I do. I really do. I really do. You've got the best phone screens,
Yeah, you
just
know what it is
always.
for you, right? When you call
Yeah.
me,
Yeah, it's Chewy in the snow, right?
Chewy in the snowstorm. It's been that for years.
All right. So let's actually get to the point of Super Nintendo games. Um, do you want to kick us off with your number five?
Can he actually survive cold temperatures like that? Is he?
Chewy?
Yeah,
I mean, he seemed to be okay. He wasn't bundled up. He just had the his fur.
yeah. I just didn't know if he was like cold blooded or like if he could survive like the frigid temperatures. Like I know he's like really furry, but dogs are furry, but they can't all survive like any what like you're not supposed to leave your dog outside under 40 degrees or something like that.
Right.
And
Depending on the breed. And so the way that it seems, because there's not a lot of Kashyyyk is pretty tropical based on everything that
Mhm.
we've seen.
Right.
But at
And
the
he
same
doesn't get
time,
overly hot,
but at
so
the same time, we've seen Chewie without a problem where, every human had to be so bundled up and had to be really careful. So
true.
I would say he probably has some resistance to cold that other people
But they
that
never really
regular people.
explain that
No,
in
not
because you've
really.
read the books too, and I haven't read
No,
any.
yeah, nothing that I've seen other than the fact that, Wookiees are just like crazy resilient. And so
Hmm.
I think that they're just really, really strong and they're able to withstand things that a human being wouldn't be able to. God, I love Star Wars so much. I'm so
I
excited to
know.
talk more Star Wars. By the way, Bad Batch season 3, I don't care about Bad Batch, but they're bringing Asajj Ventress in, and I know you don't know anything about her because you haven't watched Clone Wars.
Nope.
Such a great character. It makes me want to see it. And also, everybody ranted and raved about how good season 2 was, and I still haven't watched it. But Asajj being in it is making me want to watch season 2 so that I can watch season 3 when it comes out.
But so you still haven't watched season two?
No, I watched the first episode and I was like, oh my God, it's still the Martez sister weren't in there in the
But
first episode, so that was a
it
plus.
felt like they were.
It really did. It was bad. I just don't care about the Bad Batch. That is not my cup of tea for Star Wars. I'm much more into the lore, not the war. So I want the Jedi, I want the Force. That's what I gravitate towards. Everything else, it's a little harder for me. Unless it is pilots. Dogfights, I'm there for.
Hmm.
Like big time. Like Star Wars Squadrons and Star Wars
I knew you like
Battlefront.
Squadrons. Yeah, I
Battlefront,
knew.
I played the aerial battles. I very rarely played anything else.
That's just in the remake, right? The aerial battles weren't in the original Battlefront, correct?
Right. Not that I remember.
Not that I remember.
I think you might have been able to get like a TIE fighter or something on your side as like a power up,
Right.
but I don't think that
Yeah,
it was
but
an
you didn't like
actual.
pilot like that like
I don't
that.
think so. God, it's been so long since I played Battlefront and
I
Battlefront
know,
2.
right? Um, I'm gonna kick off, and we already know that I'm in no particular order. I just go
Right.
straight from five to one. Doesn't mean I like or love any of these in these orders. So number five is going to be The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past.
Great game. Great game.
One thing I hate about that game is
Nothing.
you just gotta know
Nothing.
things.
Yeah, it was very similar to the first Zelda The Legend of Zelda and then Link to the Past are very, very similar in that they are like dungeon crawls. If you don't know where you're going, you're just
You
walking in
gotta
circles.
explore every
Yep.
single aspect of that map, and the first one was like that too. The second
Hmm.
one wasn't like that, thank God, but it was a terrible game.
The second one was so bad. Oh, such a bad
And
game.
you want to hear the funny part? Like when it first came out, well, not when it first came out, but when within the next 5 years of it coming out.
Hmm.
Actually, I don't know when that might have actually come out in the 90s.
Two came out. Well, let me think. Legend of Zelda came out in what, 85 or
I
86?
I was thinking 80. Oh, I was thinking 89.
Because I know that the NES was released in 85. And I
Mhm.
remember I was 5 when I got mine in 1990 when we got an NES. And Zelda, Mario, all that was already out. So it came out sometime in that. So I don't know if Zelda 2 was in the late 80s, early 90s. I don't remember.
So two was, or I'm sorry, one was 86.
Hmm.
So you were close on that one. And number two was 87. Really?
Oh wow, I didn't realize that they
I
rushed it
didn't,
out so quick.
yeah, I didn't think it came out. Maybe that's why it was a heaping pile
Well,
of garbage.
that's
But
the same thing that happened with Mario too, also because they took a
yeah, that's
different
true
game
because it
and
was
just
supposed to be a
reskinned
completely
it.
different game.
Yeah,
Here's the thing, I could really appreciate Mario 2 though.
I can too.
I
Not
really
not
didn't think
Zelda 2.
Mario 2 was a bad game until I played Mario 3, and that's the problem.
Right.
Is because I was born in 86. So when I started playing NES, I played Mario 3 first, and then
Hmm.
I played 2, and I thought, man, this is not a great game. But then I started like to realize I was like, if I would have played this before 3, I probably would have liked it more. And then I just and once I found that out too, I was
Hmm.
like, when you think about it, it really wasn't a bad game. It was just different. It was just different.
It was just different. It was special.
Um, I what was we talking about? I
Link
was
to the
going to say
Past
something.
was what you
Link to
were.
the Past. I actually I liked that when it first came out, and I was a kid and I didn't know any better. And then the older I got, the more I realized, like, wow, this sucks.
A Link to the Past?
No, no, I was still talking about Link 2. I was still
Oh,
talking.
okay.
I was trying to
Link's
finish my
Adventure.
original
Okay.
thought.
I was like,
I
you
got
just put it in your
sidetracked.
top five. I was
And
like,
then
what
as
happened?
soon as you said Legend of Zelda, I didn't hear anything after that. I was like, I gotta finish the thought before I lose it again. Because I'm telling you, Derek, before you brought that up, I had no fucking idea what we were talking about. No idea. Didn't remember talking to you at all about Zelda.
Amazing. This is why you're here. This is what you
This
bring to
happened
the
the other
table.
day. Like my friend told me something, and I was like, "Oh yeah, well why?" And she was like, "I already explained this to you. Remember because of the." And then it all flooded back, and I was like, "I remember every aspect of that conversation now."
Right.
2 minutes ago, I would have swore that you were crazy, and we never had that conversation. I was like, I don't know anything about what you're talking about. You don't remember me telling you? I'm like, I do. I remember all of that now, and I don't know why. I don't know why that's happening to me.
It's just the way your brain works.
I don't like
You're
it.
just that little bit of neuro spicy. So anyway, so Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past
Link to the
is your
past.
number five
Number five
because it was better than Zelda 2, but not one of your favorites.
of the Zelda games.
Yeah.
Link to the Past is probably my favorite Zelda game.
Really? Number
Yeah,
one, huh?
yeah,
That is very interesting.
yeah.
I wouldn't have pegged that for being your favorite.
Probably my favorite.
Ocarina is still my favorite.
Ocarina's up there. It's
Still
up
my
there, but
favorite. Skyward Sword was so much better than it had any business being also.
I
The one
never
on the
played
Wii.
that one.
Oh my
I
gosh, man,
never
it was
played
so
it.
good. In all honesty, it's probably the best Zelda game, but the nostalgia of Ocarina and everything, and when I played that keeps it above it. But when I finished Skyward Sword, I said I looked at Allie because we were married, but when that came out, and I said that's the best Zelda game that I've ever played. It was so good. The story was great. But anyway, I digress. My number five is Super Mario World.
I started playing Breath of the Wild recently.
I still haven't gotten to play either of those. I haven't gotten to play Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. And every time we have a video game ish episode, we end up talking about the new Zelda games.
Yeah, and I
And I'm
actually started
shamed.
playing Breath of the Wild,
I
but I
haven't been
never did.
able to. I don't have time. And it really bums me out because like I bought Baldur's Gate 3 on
Oh,
like the day after Christmas, and I've played it for 3 hours. It's been a
mm.
month. I've played it for 3 hours.
You just mentioned Super Mario World.
Yes, that is my number
Okay,
five.
okay, that's solid. That is in my top five, but I didn't include it because I didn't want to do Mario because it was too
Hmm.
obvious. But
Oh,
Mario,
sorry.
that
I'm just
is
a basic.
that. Now, remember, I've not played a lot of the Mario's like on the Wii
Hmm.
or Wii U. Like, so I haven't played Super Mario Wonder. I haven't
I haven't got to
played
play Wonder either.
Galaxy. I haven't played Sunshine. Like
Hmm.
all the ones that like and Odyssey, all the ones that are like the best ones. I haven't played any of those. So with that aside, of the Mario games I have played, Mario World is my favorite. Mario 3 is up there, but Mario World is
Mario 3 is great. Mario 3 is when they first started because I was looking at it today. I was like, well, which one was better, Mario 3 or Mario World? And so I was looking at it because I didn't know which one I wanted to say because Mario 3 came out for the NES.
mhm.
And I was like, Mario World is better because it introduced so many new things. So like Mario 3 introduced the world map and it introduced the way that pretty much every Mario game would go like moving forward other than Galaxy and like the
Mhm.
ones that are the different style. But it introduced the world map, it introduced the power-ups the way that you get them. And then World took it just to the next level. It introduced the spin jump. You got like the leaf, where you could, oh gosh, what is it? The maple leaf or whatever, or it's not a maple leaf, but you know what I'm talking about. The leaf that
Are you
lets you
talking about in
float.
World?
Yes,
You got the cape.
yeah. The cape was in World.
Yeah, the leaf was I always called it the feather,
Yeah.
and that gave you like the raccoon suit where you had the
Yes.
tail.
Yeah. Yeah. World had the cape. But anyway,
Yes.
it just introduced a lot. I really love Super Mario World. I went back and I played it like I said on the SNES Classic, and it still holds up. Like it's as much fun as playing any of the new Super Mario Brothers to me.
Agreed.
So yeah, that was my number five. What's your number four?
Number four is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time.
That was an honorable mention. I almost put it on there.
I got a few honorable mentions we'll
I
get
I
into.
I almost put it on there. Go gush if you want to about Turtles in Time. It's such a great game.
It's good.
Perfect.
No, it's one of my favorite turtle games. Honestly, Turtles Hyperstone Heist is probably my favorite. I actually played that recently.
Hmm.
So for those of you who, for whatever reason, don't know, TMNT has this Cowabunga collection that was released last year, and it's all of them, all of the old Super Nintendo, Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and the Game Boy games.
Hmm.
So I started playing the OG NES Turtles, one of the hardest games ever
One of
created.
the hardest games ever made. Never beat it to this day.
So
One of the first games I've ever played.
I started playing it and I started catching on to like, wait a minute, I was playing this wrong as a kid the whole time.
Hmm.
If you do certain strategies, it makes the game much easier. And I get about halfway through and I think I just got to the bomb level, which is infuriating.
Which one? The one
And
underwater?
yeah,
Oh my God.
and Trent's like, man, I don't know. Or no, he said, Trent said, yeah, it's really helpful having that rewind button, isn't it? And I said, what the fuck are you talking about? What rewind button? And he was like,
I don't know what this is either.
the rewind button. I said, dude, I had no idea what you're talking about. So it turns out on that Cowabunga collection, on the Switch, you can hold the L button and it'll rewind it back like up to 10 seconds. So if you do something and you get hacked and you lose a big part of your life bar, you could just go back a few seconds. And I
Shenanigans.
said, wait, what? And he was like, did you not know that? And I said, no. He goes, you got that far without it? And I was like, I've been training for fucking decades for this, my friend. I've been playing that game since I was like 8 years old.
Yep.
I was like, I've never beat it and I never will, except for the fact that you just told me that and I might. But then I tried to refrain as much as I could from using that. I was like, God, I wish you wouldn't have told me.
Yeah.
And then I used it a few times. I had to. Moral of the story is that game is really fun with the rewind button. And the Turtles games are classic when I was growing up anyway, but Turtles in Time always stuck out to me. Did you play like 10 years ago? They did the reshelled version of Turtles in Time.
No, I don't think I think I may have played for a second, but I didn't have it. So I think I've played it on somebody else's console, maybe. Maybe my brother-in-law had it. I could be wrong. I don't know. I love Turtles in Time, but like I said, I didn't have an SNES growing up, and so Turtles in Time is one that I played on the arcade. like at any chance I got at Pizza Hut. Turtles in
Oh
Time.
yeah.
Spent so much money at that arcade at Pizza Hut.
Yeah, same. It
God,
wasn't
Pizza.
a big arcade to begin with,
No, there's
so.
like they had like three machines. That was it. They had three
And they
games.
rotated them constantly
I
too.
know. That was their
That's the thing that sucked about it, is like if you found one that you really liked.
the Captain
And I
America and the
remember
Avengers game. God, it was so good.
like that. And was it Spy Hunter they had? That was like the over the glass game. No, it was at Pac-Man. I think they had
Pac-Man.
Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
But yeah, Turtles in Time is great. That absolutely deserves a spot on the list. Like I said, honorable mention for me because I was being a little more basic with a couple of mine, with my number five and my number four, because my number four is Super Mario Kart.
Okay.
I
Nothing wrong
sunk
with
I
that.
sunk so many hours into that, and it was the beginning of a lifelong love of Mario Kart. It's my favorite racing game.
I guess I'm going again.
Hmm?
Tonight I'm
Are
going
you?
again.
Oh, that's hilarious. Well, we'll
That's
wrap this up as quick as we can then, and you can do that.
that's okay. Number three is Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Wow, that's a deep cut.
Hmm.
I have played it though.
My brother and I used to play that all the time. We had friends that would come over
Hmm.
and we would just take turns playing that game. And it was just kind of weird. It was like an oddball thing to take turns playing because at this point, so when I get my Super Nintendo and we're playing these Super Nintendo games, I also have a PS1.
Hmm.
And I take a break from that to go back and play the Super Nintendo games. Like I had World and a few more I'll get into. And we would take a break and play like Zombies Ate My Neighbors for hours and then go play something else. Like I think at the time the more popular one was Tomb Raider 2 or 3.
Hmm.
We played like Tomb Raider or something. So you just imagine going from like one of the Tomb Raider games to Zombies Ate My Neighbors
Right.
on Super Nintendo. It was just fun because it was kind of like an over the not even it wasn't like an overhead type view. It was kind of
Right.
like at an angle.
Yeah, it was like a weird angle.
Yeah, which I really liked, and the weapons were really cool in it, and just the layout of the maps were really fun. So
Hmm.
yeah, I really enjoyed that game, and it is a deep cut. I don't hear a lot of people talk about it. I'd like to play it
No,
again. I think I have it actually, on Super Nintendo.
really.
I have the SNES Classic, but I also put a bunch of ROMs on it.
Right. Yeah, I remember Zombies Ate My Neighbor. It was like a run and gun type of deal where you
Yeah.
were like you said, it was like a weird angle and you could
Mhm.
kind of so they could come in from all sides. Yeah, God, what a that brings me back. I forgot about that. Number three for me, uh, Super Return of the Jedi. I don't know if you played
Yes.
any of the Super Nintendo Star Wars games. They were also ridiculously hard, but Return of the Jedi was so much fun. Escaping from Jabba's palace and the Sarlacc at the beginning of it was a lot of fun. All of the fights were a blast. It was all side scrolly. It was a side scroller, not side scrolly. It was a side
That's
scroller. It
scrolling.
was great.
So here's the
Yes.
weird
Oh
camera
yeah.
angle of Zombies Ate My
Hmm.
Neighbors. For those of you who can see on our YouTube channel, our fresh YouTube channel.
Fresh, brand new YouTube channel. We'll see how long it
Not
gets up there.
not to interrupt you, but I did play the first one,
Hmm.
which was it just called
Super Star Wars.
Super Star Wars?
Yeah,
Yeah. That's a really good one. I don't
it is.
remember a lot of it, but it is in my honorable mentions because that's one of those that like I want to go back and play again. So,
Yeah, they were
and I
so much
also think
fun
I have that on my
on your
ROMs.
classic. Yeah, and Super Return of the Jedi got it edged out the other two for two reasons. One, Return of the Jedi is my favorite movie, so it's the one I played the most when I was younger. And two, the speeder bike sequence where you actually got to be on the speeder bike and trying to go through on indoor was almost impossible and always a sense of pride whenever you got a little bit farther before you blew up by flying into a tree. So, Super Return of the Jedi, loved it. So I think we're at your number two already. We took a long time at number five, and now we're moving and a shaking.
Number two should come as no surprise, but it's the Adventures of Batman and Robin.
I couldn't put it on here because, like I said, I played it on Sega Genesis, but that is one of my favorite Batman games of all time.
I like the Sega Genesis version. I played the shit out of it, but the this version was so much different
Hmm.
than that version, and I like this one better. It really stood the test of time too. I played that recently on Super Nintendo, and let me tell you, man, it holds up. It holds up real well. It's still
Hmm.
real fun, good graphics for its time.
Let me guess. Your basic self played Batman, didn't you?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
You were always Batman, weren't you?
I was thought you were
Weren't
talking
you?
about the games. I was like, wait, what are we
Robin
talking about?
Robin
Which
wasn't
one?
good enough for you. I always played Robin.
Well, here's the thing. I think on the Super Nintendo version, I don't think you can pick it first. I think it starts out
Really?
as Batman. I
Oh,
think,
lame. Yeah,
if I
I
remember
I
correctly.
I always played as Robin because justice for Robin. I'm tired of people talking crap about Robin, Colonel Bob. Robin's awesome.
Robin's a great character.
Robin's a great character.
Depends on the Robin, but
Well, if it's Dick, Tim, or Damien, it's
yeah,
I'm good. Tim is the best Robin. I'll die on that hill.
I agree. I didn't hate the Stephanie Brown version.
I didn't either. It was just so quick.
Yeah.
She wasn't
It,
Robin for long because she was
she was also
spoiler.
Batgirl too at
She
one
was
point, wasn't she?
Batgirl for a while. I liked her better as Batgirl. All
Cassandra
I
Cassandra Cain, my favorite Batgirl.
She was a great Batgirl. The one that I don't like though is one of people's favorites. And I don't understand it. Carrie Kelly.
Carrie Kelly is
I
awful.
don't get it. I don't get it.
Awful.
I don't care for that character at all. She just annoyed me so much. She was not any better when they brought her into the new 52.
Do you know if Cassandra Cain is she still orphaned or did they change her name again?
Buddy, I haven't read a Batman comic, other than like the Batman Superman World's Finest that I've been reading.
Hmm.
I haven't read a solo Bat Family book. Like I'm still years behind on Nightwing at this point. So I don't know
Yeah,
if she's still orphaned or
same.
not.
I started what you call it reading Batman again.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know what to call it at this point because it's after Rebirth. It's just
Right.
the new run. They just went back to calling it Batman.
Right.
Um, I need to get back. I got so much catching up to do. There's so many different runs. There's All Star Batman. There's Detective Comics. There's
Hmm.
Batman. There's Nightwing I gotta catch up with, so I got so much reading to do. And then
Hmm.
as you know, I started Radiant Black, and I gotta get through that. That's real fun. There's a few like Scott Snyder runs of different comics that aren't
We can do a comic
superheroes
episode
that I
again.
wanna. Yeah,
We
for
need to do
sure.
one soon. I need to read Radiant Black. Maybe we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I love that. I like it so far a lot.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things. Everybody at Nerd Initiative, all the bullpen guys, all the people that do the reviews love the massive verse. They all
Yeah,
talk
it's fun
talk
so
very
far.
highly about it. I'll have to look into it. But yeah, so Batman and Robin, great pick.
Yeah, it's my number. That's my number three.
Um, that was your number three.
No, that was my
No,
number
it's your
two. I
number
lied to
two.
you. That
Yeah.
was my number two.
I was to say, I was like, wait a minute. No, that should be your number two. So my number two is Donkey Kong Country.
Fun. Which one? Just the
The
original?
first Donkey Kong Country. I can still hear that music in my head
Yeah.
of old Cranky Kong standing up on top of the trees, cranking the music, and then ooh, ooh,
That was a good Donkey Kong.
thank you. Yeah, I love Donkey Kong Country. I had it was for a Super Nintendo game, it was so graphically interesting. Like it was really, really it had a kind of a 3D quality to it, and the minecart sequences. Anytime I was in a minecart, it was my favorite. I love Donkey Kong Country. That was almost my number one.
Okay.
Didn't care for
Nothing
any
wrong
of
with
the
that.
sequels as much. Once they got into like Nintendo 64, it just didn't work for me. I feel
Two
like Donkey
two
Kong
was
Country needs to be a side scroller.
I think two was great, three was okay. Fun, but two is my favorite of the three, to be
Hmm.
honest with you. I had that on Game Boy Pocket,
Nice.
which
Game
is a
Boy
smaller
Pocket,
version of the regular Game Boy.
which was already
But
small.
yeah, it's true. Uh Honorable mentions for me. X-Men Mutant Apocalypse,
Hmm.
uh, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Aladdin.
Nice.
Although I
Another
do
another one I
prefer
played on
this,
the Genesis.
I prefer the Genesis version, but the Super Nintendo version is really good too. And I got a few honorable mentions, so I'll just stop it right there.
Yeah, so I talked about a couple of mine already, but the other one that I wanted to make sure I mentioned was Earthworm Jim. I loved Earthworm
Oh
Jim.
God, yeah,
Earthworm
yeah.
Jim was so much fun. Such a silly concept. Really an
Pulling
absolute blast.
himself out of the suit to whip at people is the
Yes.
funniest freaking thing.
I loved it. It was such a fun game. And one of those games that I thought for sure would keep going, like it'd be a long running franchise, and it just didn't. They did a couple of games, but it never kept going. I always wish that they would bring it back. Excuse me. All right, so we're down to our last ones. Do you want to continue the trend of going first?
This is probably going to surprise you.
What is it?
The Death and the Return of Superman.
Really, as your number one game with the big old giant hulking Doomsday and
And
mulleted Superman.
yeah, and again, not my favorite. I didn't put it in any particular order, but this is really like one of my favorites to play. It's so fun. It's such a fun like beat 'em up brawler game.
Hmm. And one of the only good Superman games.
True. Not a lot of those out there.
No, they really haven't been able to figure out that, haven't been able to crack the code. So, gosh, you have thrown me a couple of curveballs with this list. I'm not gonna lie. Zombies Ate
Hmm.
My Neighbors and Death and Return of Superman. My list is very, very predictable compared to yours.
There's nothing wrong with predictable. I was trying to get away from predictable so we had a little bit more to talk about, but nostalgic reasons, like everything on your list is solid. I played the shit out of Mario Kart. Who didn't as a
All
kid?
right,
You'd have friends over and play
I still
Mario
do.
Kart. Yeah.
Play that with the kids.
I mean, it spawned so many like sequels,
Yeah, Mario
so
Kart
to say.
8.
Yeah,
Mario Kart 8 on the Switch. It's
exactly.
crazy. Oh man, that makes me feel old. So yeah, that's a great pick. I'm so befuddled and baffled because I didn't expect it. My number one is one that you already mentioned, and I was trying to be quiet about it because I wanted to hype it up when I got to my number one.
Hmm.
Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past is my favorite SNES game, hands down, bar
Great
none.
game.
It is it is top five best Zelda games ever made. Probably top three, in all honesty. Because if it was me, or before Skyward Sword came out, it was my second favorite. And then after Skyward Sword, it goes Ocarina of Time, Skyward Sword, Link to the Past, Wind Waker. Those are the top four. Because Wind Waker was excellent. And then probably the original to round out the top five because I haven't gotten to play Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom yet. But yeah, so Link to the Past, excuse me. I know you already talked about it. Um, and what you liked about it. Everything that you mentioned about it is what I loved about it. I love the exploration of it. That's one of my favorite parts of the original Zelda is just walking around and seeing what you see. You know, had some updated graphics, some different tools, different gadgets. I
Hmm.
uh, I love Link to the Past and weird pig Ganondorf.
I like Ocarina of Time uh, a lot. It is up
Hmm.
there. Majora's Mask was very weird
I can't
com
with Majora's Mask.
compared to. I enjoy it, but it's just it's a really weird concept. It
It is.
worked. I think it's a fun game.
Hmm.
I didn't play Twilight. I watched Bob play a little bit of Twilight Princess.
It
I
was fun.
didn't play Wind Waker,
Wind Waker was
and
amazing.
like Breath of the Wild was on my list for a while. And like I said earlier, I just started playing that one, and then the other ones, the Link's Awakening is that one. Like
Hmm.
it goes back to kind of like the overhead style, but it's like a
Yeah.
3D version. It's really cool looking. I didn't play that one, but I hear that one's really good.
Yeah, and then they had all the like the Game Boy, all the handheld ones. There was like
Yeah,
the Minish Cap, the
the
Four
Minish
Swords.
Cap, Legend of the
Um,
Four
there,
Swords. Is that what it was called?
yeah, there's something else. There have been a boatload of Zelda games, and
Yeah,
there's like four different Zelda timelines, and
yeah,
it's a
very
lot.
confusing.
It's very confusing, but there are people on the internet that can tell it all to you. It's just I'm not one of them.
That's true. I'm not one of them either.
But yeah, so that was my number one. So it's been good to have you back, buddy.
Yeah,
I
it's been fun
know
being
this
back.
was a rambly episode, but this is the kind of fun episode that I want to do while we've got some time to not just be rigorous about like, okay, we got to review a TV show. So again, if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, let us know what kind of content do you want us to do? Do you want us to do more things about video games? Do you want us to branch out and start talking about comic books? I've been playing a crap load of D&D these last few months. I'm all about it. I want to talk about it. A buddy at work just got me back into Magic the Gathering. That was a mistake. So we'll see what happens. But if you got an idea for something you want us to cover, let us know. Maybe we'll get around to it. Um, but if you are not following us, make sure you're following us on all the social medias. If you're listening on the podcast, don't forget to rate and review us. That helps quite a bit. And again, if you're watching on this new YouTube channel, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Get us going so we can actually get a couple of subscribers back. We didn't have a huge following yet on the old one, but by God, it was starting to pick up. And as soon as it started to pick up, YouTube snatched it away from us. So anyway, thank you very much. Follow us on all everything. If you want to hear more from me and more of my ramblings and my reviews on comics, and probably soon to be some TV and movies as well, check me out at Nerd Initiative, and follow Ian on all the social medias too because he posts awesome food
Oh, buddy.
because he's a good cook, and he also posts funny memes. So what do you have to lose? Follow Ian; it'll be fine. You don't have to follow my personal account. I don't do anything on them. I'm really bad about it. But anyway, this has been a lot of fun. Ian, I'm glad you're back. Everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for if you've made it this long. I'm very proud of you. You got through a ramble. We will for Ian, I've been Derek. I forgot the outro. This has been the Paperweight Entertainment Podcast. We'll see you next time.